For decades, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea has been painted as a villain, as an immoral evil, a closed, brutal regime propped up by fear and lies, and anyone who defends it is called out for being insane. But who's really lying? Behind the dramatic headlines and tearful testimonies is a well-oiled machine of propaganda designed to sell a very specific story, one that justifies sanctions, isolation, and the constant threat of war. In this video, I'll try to explain how stories like those of Yeonmi Park are not just full of holes, but actively used as weapons in a broader campaign of imperialist aggression. This is more than defending a government. It's about challenging the narratives we're fed and asking why the truth is so often the first casualty.
President Kim Il-sung and General Kim Jong-il were always together on the road of Sungun-based leadership. President Kim Il-sung, the eternal leader of the Korean people, and Kim Jong-il, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and Chairman of the National Defense Commission of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, always guided the Korean Revolution to victory by dint of Sungun-based leadership.
The relentless barrage of propaganda against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea serves a clear and brutal purpose: to pave the way for imperialist aggression against a nation that refuses to bow to the dictates of capital. For decades, the DPRK has endured the unimaginable consequences of being bombed into oblivion, left to die under a suffocating global blockade, and forced into a desperate arms race for the very idea of survival. Yet, in the face of this historical and ongoing violence, the West peddles fantastical narratives, often through the mouths of those incentivized to lie, hoping the world will swallow their outrageous claims without a second thought.
The Tank Division 105 is honored with Kim Jong-il's first step for Sungun-based leadership. Kim Jong-il has a chat with a soldier he had met when he had accompanied the president on an inspection of the division scores of years ago and saw the historical materials on the memorable events in those days.
Consider the case of Yeonmi Park, trotted out by the Western media as a poster child for North Korean horrors. Her stories, however, crumble under the slightest scrutiny. One moment, she claims to have seen bodies floating in rivers daily, a claim dismissed by those who have actually lived and worked in the country. Another moment, she asserts a friend's mother was executed for watching a James Bond movie, a tale that shifts depending on the audience and is contradicted by experts and other defectors who state such crimes do not result in public execution. The most serious crimes punished in this manner are those that truly harm society: murder, large-scale theft of state property, and major smuggling operations. Park's narrative of hardship and escape is riddled with inconsistencies. She describes her family as parasites after her father was arrested for illegal trading, essentially stealing from the collective good, and then claims this made her life impossibly brutal. Yet, she came from a position of relative privilege. Her accounts of her mother's supposed imprisonment for simply moving are contradicted by her mother's own testimony of being interrogated for her involvement in the illegal trading. The dramatic tale of crossing mountains to escape is easily disproven by a simple map of her hometown. The most egregious lie, perhaps, is the changing story of her escape. One version has her escaping with both parents. Another has her and her mother alone, with the horrific addition of her mother being raped. The inconsistencies extend even to the death of her father, with conflicting accounts of whether he was buried or cremated. These are not minor slips of memory. They are the hallmarks of fabricated stories designed to shock and demonize.
On the historical August 25, 1960, when President Kim Il-sung inspected this unit and kindled the flame of the Red Flag Company movement, Kim Jong-il put forward a guiding principle that the basic mission of the People's Army should be to defend the party and the leader at all costs. Persons of the People's Army made a firm pledge to defend the party's Central Committee headed by President Kim Il-sung at the cost of their lives.
Why are these stories so readily embraced by the Western establishment? Because they serve as justification for the cruel sanctions that have crippled the Democratic People's Republic of Korea's economy for decades, and for the constant threats of military action. As one analyst notes, Park works for a free market think tank, and her job is to push for reforms in the DPRK and more sanctions. Her stories, however unbelievable, are weaponized to advance a hostile policy. The willingness of the Western media and their allies to amplify these clearly false narratives is staggering. We are expected to believe stories of children being cooked and fed to dogs based on nothing but a single person's word, while the admitted, videotaped atrocities committed by the CIA, including the rape of children, are met with deafening silence. The moral outrage of the United Nations and Western powers is conveniently absent when the crimes are committed by the U.S. empire.
Kim Jong-il said that a song was created in the People's Army and that he had a song created and sung to demonstrate the unity of the People's Army behind President Kim Il-sung, a unity unbreakable come what may.
This astronomical level of dishonesty exposes the true nature of the campaign against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. It is not about human rights. It is about control and domination. It is about punishing a nation for choosing its own path, for building a society based on collective good rather than individual profit. The constant stream of propaganda, the sensationalized stories, the outright lies, all of it is designed to dehumanize the people of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and make them acceptable targets for imperialist aggression. We must reject this manufactured reality and stand in solidarity with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea against the lies of the empire.